Okay, let's continue onwards. Let's see, what do we gotta do here? What do we gotta do here? Okay. What are we doing again? We're protecting the access to the core facility. Oh right, okay. Let's make better rolls. Hack the facility, explore the facility. Let's fucking actually let's hack it. I'm gonna hack it. Then we'll explore. We're doing some work, at least. Where do we go to sleep? Oh, my old empty container. I love my old empty container. Start action. It's only been one day. We're gonna fucking kill this shit easily. Like no question. Oh, we're fucking hungry, aren't we? Let's just get a burgie, I guess. Here's have some of my money. Give me that burgie. Oh, give me that burgie. Just give me that burgie. Alright, now let me explore it a little bit more. And then I'll be Mr. Hacker. Oh shit. I didn't mean to do that. I don't know why. I'm still sleepy, I think. I'm still tired. Boom. Ah, that's actually worse. That was only one. Damn. Let's try it. Ooh, we could probably do this actually. Let's get it. 75% chance to do it. We did it. Boom. Sleeper, here. Pete calls to you from across the flickering corridor. An elevator to the core. He smiles. This is it. There's been a long set of cycles hunting for a path through the derelict lair of the old Solheim offices and workshops, but finally, here it is. The path down to the core. You rushed over to peek. As you do, the doors grind open, the dingy-looking elevator flickering as they do. You look at Peek, who nervously gestures for you to get in. Step in. The elevator bounces a little but stays stable. You glance back to see Peek watching you nervously. They follow you in sheepishly, just a little nervous. Peek reaches over and punches the button for the lowest level, flinching a little as the doors grind closed. The elevator sets off, screeching through the floors as it does at an unsettlingly loud volume. I feel more comfortable if we spoke. Peek raises their voice over the noise. It's not going to be a short trip. Have you heard of Senatstadt? Peek thinks. Maybe. Once. They frown. Could have been mentioned in an XPR news packet. The kind of central administration sent out to us. Something about market analytics, I think. They shake their head. When you've spent so much time trying to forget your past, this stuff isn't easy to dredge up. How's Ash? I was thinking more like small talk. Elevator talk. They sigh. She is packing. They rub their eyes. She's packing. They rub their eyes. Once Ash has set her mind on something, well, you know her now. You know what I mean. Screeching in the elevator fills the silence. Can she be persuaded to stay? I doubt it. I really do. Peek looks down. She left her life behind to take me out of XPR, out of Hawthorne. I can't imagine her settling just anywhere. To be honest, I can't see her letting me stay either. But I guess things have changed. Back then at Hawthorne, I wasn't in a place to know what to do. I was desperate. I was ready to run. But now? Peek pauses. Now I feel done with that. Done with denying my past, my history. If I ever want to feel complete, to feel settled, don't I need to somehow resolve the person I was with the person I am now? Pico squared. And you do too. There are too many possible questions, too many possibilities before you. It just seems easier to go on with the task at hand and leave the consequences for later. The elevator screams to a stop and the doors ping open with a strangely beautiful, cheerful beep. You glance at Peak. Time to move on. You both walk out into an atrium, still lit by some ragged-looking light panels on the ceiling, one simulating a summer sky, now degrading into a flickering blue and white tapestry of glitches. Peak crosses quickly, making a beeline for the large doors on the far side, where you can make out a fading sign in massive peeling letters, Central Core. You follow, helping them lever open a partially powered doors until the motor kicks in and they spring to life, thudding open. You and Peak tumble through, across a damp metal. As you stand, you are greeted by flickering lights, thousands of them. A vast cylindrical stack of servers, processors, transmitters, dominates the center of the room, its flickering LEDs reflected in the scattered puddles that surround it. Despite the decay, the warped panels and water leaks, it is still running, just as it has for decades and decades, since the station was first spun up. You wonder how long it's been since anyone has been in this room. You exchange wide-eyed looks with Peak. This place is still a living piece. This place is a still living piece of history. What is this place? Peak stares. One of the central facilities of the station. The primary one of the rim, it looks like. They shake their head. The heart of this place. Peak takes a handful of mulch out from a small bag. It glitters with spores. Now we seed this place. They cross to the server and start packing the mulch deep into the machinery, pushing fistfuls deep into gaps in the paneling, laying it across hardware. As you watch them doing this, you feel a tug, a thread pulling at you. You approach the vast piece of cylindrical hardware that Peak is stuffing mulch into. You run your hands across its plated metal surface and watch the lights blink in response. As you pass, you hear a whir, like a physical disk drive starting up. Let's listen. The whirling shifts alternating, speeding up and slowing down, and as you listen, you hear it modulating into a voice. Sleeper. You freeze. You are here. For a moment, you are afraid, but something in the tonality of the voice is familiar. Navigator! Oh shit. Isn't this the thing that, like, was in, like, the vending machine, maybe? Another drive spins up, and another, giving the voice a richer, multitonal sound. I'd forgotten what it felt like to speak like this. The drive skips. There's a certain quality to it, a certain physicality. What are you doing here? The drives squawk in unison. Did you imagine the Flux, the Shadow Protocol? That they were just a problem for the people of the station? A high whining begins. They are all the more dangerous to us. They are all the more dangerous to us. I've been in hiding once more, jumping from network to network to avoid the shadow as it eats up nodes. A low rumble. I had thought my hiding days were done. From the moment I found myself a safe haven here in the core, the shadow has yet to breach the facility. Though that is a temporary state of affairs, the rumble stops. My predictions do not point to good outcomes. We have a plan. You explain to Navigator about Peak's plan, about Gardner's resistance to the shadow, and how by seeding key systems you will protect them from its advance. The drives hum thoughtfully as you speak. A desperate plan, the drives were, but appropriate given the probability of total collapse. I'm not sure what will be worse for us, hiding from the erasure of the Shadow Protocol or the assimilation of the Gardener. The drives pause to reset, but we owe you our freedom. I will do what I can to guide the Gardener into the systems you have seeded. A pause. It is correct to do so. Thank you. The drive squeak in affirmation. You have notable persistence, Sleeper, even with such poor probabilities of success. I will be curious to see the outcome. The drives squeal, the motors giving out. This cannot be sustained much longer. Good luck. A final squeak of affirmation, and then the drives skitter and slow to a halt. You step back from the powering cylinder, staring at it, this vast piece of Solheim hardware. The whole place is built from ghosts, you think, from old protocols and company hardware, from engines that drove decades of corporate expansion. Is the eye proof that they can be shifted, bent, forced into new configurations that allow for new ways of living? Or is its inevitable collapse proof that these engines of expansion can never be anything other than a corrupt foundation? It seems to depend on who you ask. Done, Peak's shout. Peak's shout breaks your line of thought. The heat and damp should help the spores germinate quickly. If we are lucky, there's enough time for some growth before we reconnect the Greenway. They glance at you. That's it. All the facilities are seeded, they sigh. We either just ensured the ice survival, or stuffed a whole lot of soil into one of its most important computers. They laugh weakly. Shall we go? They start to head back towards the doors in the elevator beyond. Let's take one last look. You wait for a moment, following the blinking lights. You wonder what might be tucked away in such a structure, what secrets it might hold, what histories. It's an intriguing prospect, but while you watch the lights, you realize something. If the Eye is to become anything more than an offshoot, a temporary structure, it must form its own history, its own stories, stronger than anything that came before. Unlocking these Solheim secrets won't do that, but the persistence, the stubborn drive to survive that is in the veins of every person in this place, that will. And that is what you are trying to save. You turn your back up to the core and follow Peak into the elevator. As you ride the car back up, Peak raises their voice over the screeching. I'm going to the Founders Gap to finalize the connection. The moment I'm ready, I'll let you know, and we let the gardener out. The sooner the better, Peak furrows their brow. If we wait until the final cycle, it'll be too late. If you want to help speed things up, go work with the flotilla. We can't make the connection until we know they are ready to go. Peak swallows. Unleashing Gardener could affect them too, if we aren't careful. And what happens then? Peak shrugs. I don't honestly know. Maybe Gardener takes over the station. Maybe they don't even react, they sigh. I can't think about it any longer. You ride the rest of the way in silence. When you reach the top, you go your separate ways, but before you do, Peak embraces you, burying their face in your shoulder. You stand there together for a moment, spinning with the eye, moving relentlessly toward an unknown future. And then they let go and slip away, the pressure of their hug fading like a bruise as you begin to leave. Damn. We got 3 points. Let's... Boom. We got a +2 there as well now. Hell yeah. We're doing pretty good, I gotta say. Yeah, we still got shit to do here. So let's take a nap. I mean, look, we have a lot of time. We have a lot of time. We fucking speed run through this shit. Pilgrim prep. Yeah, let's be a good engineer. Ooh, a random scrap. Oh, hell yeah, we get random scrap items for doing this shit. I forgot. Let's just keep doing that. Oh my god. This is insane, actually. Oh shit, we're starving. Okay, there we go. We did it. We birthed it. They just keep coming. Perhaps the Flux event scared enough people that they will really believe the Eye will collapse. Perhaps they are sick of Havenage, of the Council's infighting and the Hardliners. Or perhaps they just want to take a chance at some new future, a place that is anywhere but here. Whatever it is, the evacuees don't stop. They come on the flotilla's shuttle, on their own ships, however they can. You've seen so many faces pass that they are almost meaningless now, a parade of features that seem both familiar and distant. You've been helping people lifting bags, bringing in supplies, directing them to the berths you helped build. Some of them recoil from your touch, still unfamiliar with the sleepers. Others treat you with pity, some with hate, snatching back their bags and storming off. Still you help. Still you carry boxes and bags. Nothing can stop you. You don't look for Soul. You know he is busy, just like you, trying to make this thing work, trying to fit as many people trying to fit as many people as will come onto the Pilgrim Seed. You know you'll see him before all this is over. You keep working, but there's something in the back of your mind, something eating away at you. You try to push it to the back of your thoughts, but it keeps coming back. The Eye is over. This is the thought, that the Eye, even if the Flux doesn't get it, is on its way out. How can it survive when these floods of people are leaving it behind? It's a thought that troubles you, because it makes you question why you have held on here for so long, in a place that seems so temporary for so many people? Are you just a stubborn idiot? Someone who didn't get the message? Or are you strong, committed for lasting the storm, for seeing the collapse coming and facing it head on? Because there is something you are sure of now. This place, like all other places, is temporary. And as each face passes you, each family packs up and gets on board the Pilgrim Seed. It feels ever more temporary, ever more fragile, which means that it either desperately needs protecting or desperately needs to be left behind. The choice is yours. Damn. Well, we're starving. We need to go eat. Where's the bar? Can I cook up some of my... Oh, I don't have enough grill caps. Oh, but I can cook some matzo cap. That's some of these caps right here. I'll take that. Hell yeah, that was good. We like that, actually. Maybe I can get something good out of this. Cool. I'll take that. Absolutely take that. And then we go to bed. Because we're tired. Oh, and we can continue to repair ourselves. And cycle. Cool. Cool. Alright, who are we helping here? Which one's this? Crew management. Ah, boring. Okay, let's get the Axis Reclamation. Ugh, God, these suck. I probably need to eat, actually. Across the rim. We should probably, yeah, pick up those griot caps. Hell yeah, there we go. That's the good shit. One sec. Go to Greenway. What can we do? Interface. Interface is only risky. I'd say we just start doing that shit. Harvest automation. Ooh. That hurt. Okay. Damn. Can we make some more food? Okay. Can I just try harvesting again? I'll take it. Alright, let's go to bed. Here. We're staying alive. We're doing okay. Oof, okay. Okay. Well, we've got some good shit now. So, let's... Here. This is what we're gonna do. Do this. Bop. Bop. Oh yeah, random scrap item. We love that. Now just one more. Boom. We got it. We did it. We expertly stripped wires and components from the Axis walls as we dismantle them. The docking axis is a little more than a shell. Everything that could have been pulled from its interior, every arm not used for docking, has been cut away. What remains is a Spartan void with patchwork of flooring that allows movement. Piles of unusable materials are tucked away in corners, but almost everything else has been cleared out. You haven't seen Peter since you last spoke, and now you're realizing that you probably never will. There are plans to be made, escapes to plot, the Shadow of Hearth to escape. On the cycle the flotilla leaves, these ships will disperse too, the moons of Ember spinning out on different orbits. The chaos has become a quiet diligence now, as the time for departure is so near. Crews cross the axis from the ship to ship at speed, bringing supplies or advice, perhaps meeting up to discuss travel vectors in hushed tones, or to debate why they haven't left yet, and whether they should. Among the Singer crews, recognizable for their specialist clothing and often shorn heads, you see the occasional refugee, a paying passenger, or a replacement engineer or pilot perhaps, come from the eye to seek fortune with the Singers. Most of the crews have 2 or 3 of these additions, some more, and you can't help but wish that, whatever reason brings them to throw their lot in with the Singer crews, they will have safe passage. You feel a strange attachment to these citizens of the Eye, setting out for the first time. And then on and then one of them catches your eye, crossing the axis with the crew, carrying a large bag and a nervous look. Tala. You freeze for a second. What is she doing here? Is this the owner of the bar? Yeah, I think so. She glances around, feeling your eyes on her, and catches your eye. Her face brightens immediately. Sleeper! Tala mutters something to her crew and rushes over, dumping the large bag at your feet, embracing you without thinking. Shit, are you leaving? She sheepishly glances at her bags. Sleeper. She pauses. She pauses again, folding her arms suspensively. I'm going to the Starward Belt. She waits for your response nervously. I don't understand. She sighs. Do you remember me mentioning my family, Sleeper? My brother? You think back to your girl blurred conversation at the back of the Bataillon. He came here with me, with my family, when we were little, just after we left Cinsa. She bites her lip. He left when we were both teenagers, jumped on some spacer crew heading to the Starward Belt. She sighs. I'm an idiot. She shakes her head. And I'm going after him. She looks down, not sure what to add. Alone? She looks at you. I guess so. I really don't know if it makes sense, or if it's the right thing, but ever since I heard that was where the refugee flotilla was going, well, I couldn't stop thinking about him. How did you hear? I work in a bar, she grins. I've heard every bit of gossip this place has to offer. Speaking of the Bataillon, she meets your eye. Someone will have to run it. She leaves a long pause. I mean, I can ask Francis. He'd be happy to, or one of the others, she blurts out. And of course, if you're leaving with the flotilla or someone else, it'll be totally okay. You wouldn't need to say yes. There's no pressure. It's fine, whichever way I was just thinking. I could run the bar. Tala nods, smiling. I think so. I mean, you can take a second. But, she glances at the crew she was walking with, who are chatting a little way away. There's not exactly much time. So, considering that, she grabs the key hanging around her neck, the key to the Bataillon. Do you want to do it? Yes. I love that fucking place. I love that Bataillon. A lot of great times. I mean, hell, I've been there every single day eating fucking mushroom burgers. Tala leaps forward and embraces you again. Thank you, Sleeper. I couldn't be leaving it in better hands. She pulls the key from around her neck and places it around yours as if presenting a medal. Remember to lock up, especially the back. Remember to empty the still if you are leaving things closed for a few cycles, and she stops herself. I won't be gone forever, of course. She blinks away a tear. I can come back and check in. Maybe once I find my brother. She pauses, unable to finish that thought. She smiles at you, and you can see the weight lifting off her shoulders. Her eyes already drifting toward the crew, the ship, the next big thing. She's ready. I better be going. She nods at the crew nearby. Not a good start to keep my guys waiting. She lifts the bag onto her shoulders. She looks down the curve of the eye toward the overlook. Thanks again, Sleeper, for everything you helped me with. She nods. I wouldn't have been able to leave it if I hadn't made things work here. She adjusts the bag. Dad wouldn't have let me. Goodbye, Tala. She sniffs. Goodbye, Sleeper. Then Tala turns. Tala turns, heading back to the crew who will carry her to the starboard belt. You watch her go, and despite the departure, it is hard to feel sad about Tala. You know her energy will carry her forward, and you hope her brother is somewhere on that bright path. You hold the key in your hand, the metal still a little warm from Tala's body. You turn over in your fingers, thinking about how it feels like a tool in a burden. You can still lock up and leave, you figure, but now you'll feel like breaking something fragile. And if you stay, well, who knows what this little metal might grow into. Damn. Let's do some risky business over here. Hey, look at that. So just take a quick nap. Okay. Oh, we're flickering already? Damn. I didn't realize we'd already be flickering. Damn it. Okay. Okay. What are we doing? Shit, yeah, we're flickering. That's okay though. Oh, and we're starving. We're flickering and starving. My two most favorite things. Club heads. We only have one club head, so we can't really do shit. Let's go to the bar. We should probably just eat up. Cool. Alright, so we have 4 dice we can do shit with. We'll probably maybe finish out the dust house? No, we cannot finish that dust house. It is way too dusty in here to do that shit. Alright, just keep on harvesting automation, right? That's all we doing? No. Well. Alright. Can we get a better one? Yeah, we can. Boom. Hey, look at that. We're looking up. Decent enough. What does that do again? Gives me more energy. Okay. It's okay. We can be flickering a little bit. Alright, can we, oh shit. The dust houses. I mean, let's just finish this shit off, right? So just one more. Alright, we got it. It's guaranteed at this point. There we go. Now have a new function. Defeat evacuees on there. So yeah, we can... Perfect. Perfect. You sit in one corner of the dust house and inspect your work. The dust house, the one where plants from the greenway and some of the steppe species intermingle, has become your favorite. The moss and dust sharing the space in curving terraces. The pale knots of steppe silk freckled with yellow lichal symbiotes. It's a hypnotic arrangement. You look down and see the intertwining fungal threads and dust-caked roots and feel a little glow of pride at what has been achieved. You hear the entry lock of the dust house hiss open and assume it is Aki. Turn to greet her. Oh fucking, it's Riko. Sleeper. I should have known you'd be here. Riko smiles her warm smile, leaning on her crutch. You must be one of the most green-fingered people on the station. What are you doing here? I met some of the steppe refugees in the Greenway. They were gathering plants and I confronted them. Turns out they were very friendly, she smiles to herself. Aki was very apologetic, but I told them they were welcome to anything they liked. She told me I'd be welcome to come see. And, well, I thought I'd take her up on the offer. She looks around the dust house with its strange hybrid ecosystem. I have to say, I'm glad I did. You know Aki? A little, she pauses. She's a fine botanist and an even finer conversationalist. Two rare qualities on the station in my experience. Riko limps over to you. She holds out a hand. How about you take me on a tour? You take Riko's hand and walk her around the hybrid dust house. You show her how the step silk knots help provide a strong base for fungal and lichal growths. How the dust mixes with the spores. You show her the different species of steppe tubers and the way they feed the soil with nutrients that help herbaceous greenway plants thrive. She nods along, her eyes bright with ideas. She stops after a while and gestures for you to sit together. I know something is happening with the eye, Sleeper. She looks out at the plants. We all felt the flux event hit, and everyone is talking about what's next. I came out here to figure something out, to understand what I might do about it all. You glance at her and see the glossiness in her eyes, and I think I have decided. What you have done here, what Aki and the other steppe refugees have done here is incredible. A whole new ecosystem, built from the strange artificial changed remains of two worlds. But I am not of two worlds. I am of the eye. A tear runs down her cheek. Like it or not, I am entwined with the station. I'm old growth. I don't have that much time anymore. It seems to accelerate with every cycle, she frowns. It blurs together, separates, overlaps. Comes back to me in strange ways. The time I do have, that's time I want to spend on the eye, in the greenway, watching things grow. She wipes her cheek. One day, I'll lie in those fields and not get back up. She smiles, the tear tracks down both cheeks. And when the green takes me, I'll be so glad. I'll miss you. Riko smiles. The feeling is mutual, Sleeper. She wipes her eyes and turns to you. But that's enough of me blabbering on about it. She furrows her brow. What I want to know is what you are planning. I'm staying. Riko smiles. We all have to get to know ourselves, Sleeper, to know what is that drives us. I'm sure you'll decide to act in the manner you know. You also have to ask yourself why it is so. She places a trembling hand in yours. Don't neglect that. Oh, she suddenly lifts both hands. Don't let me forget this. She reaches into her coat and pulls out a transparent bag of sporing club heads with carefully preserved root systems. I'd like to plant these. If you go, you'll need them. She looks down at her feet. If you don't, well, maybe another sleeper will benefit. She frowns. I can offer that at least. Thank you. She nods. Don't thank me. These are yours by right. I mean, Riko, I'm not going. Riko stands and limps over to a pile of mulch. She delicately takes the club heads out and beds them into the soil there with precise, expert hands. You should go, Sleeper. I'll be a while, she calls back, not looking away from the job at hand. See you around, she says casually, but there's a note of finality to her speech. Aww. We liked you, Riko. You fucking helped save the day for me. Goodbye, Riko. You turn and leave the dust house, cycling through the protective lock. Back into the cool quiet of the ship. Aki is waiting for you. It's beautiful. She is looking through the observation window and the green reflects in her eyes. The plants look happy together. She spots Riko with her hand in the soil. Ah, the botanist came. She shoots you a look. A friend of yours? Something like that. She nods. She speaks beautifully about the greenway. I should go in and welcome her. She pauses. Are you leaving us? Yes. Aki sighs. The first of many goodbyes. She suddenly embraces you, wrapping you in her layer of rough cloth. She pulls back. I wish you a steady step and a clear path. She smiles. A farewell from my world. I wish you the same. She nods and smiles one last warm smile before turning and entering the dust house. You watch as she walks inside, Riko turning with a smile to greet her. She kneels beside the old botanist, and you see her pointing to the club heads, asking questions. Ah, so she's gonna be learning about all of the club heads and stuff, and maybe at some point she'll encounter another sleeper and teach him about the club heads. That's nice. You're unable to hear them, but despite what you can, but despite that, you can easily imagine the measured, even tone laced with excitement that Riko is using to explain the club heads, the greenway, and much, much more. You turn, and leaving them to their conversation. Your step is light, despite the burdens you carry, and the smile Rio and Aki were sharing is somehow still on your lips as you depart. Cool. I mean, I only have one, so I can't do anything, right? No. Oh. That's fine. Well, that's that, right? I have no active drives. I guess I can do botany shit, right? Hey, look at that. Positive outcome. We probably shouldn't steal. I was like, just thinking, I was like, well, I could just steal some food, but I probably shouldn't be doing that. I want the empty container. I want to go to the fucking bar. Could just make money here. Yeah, that's good. There we go. Let's end the cycle. So now it should probably take us to the next part of the shit, right? Because leave. No? So then what do we do? Do we just wait it out? I guess we do. Scooby Dooby Doo, where are you? Okay. Well, yeah, we could make more stabilizer. That actually might be nice. Let's make more stabilizer. I wish I could just put in all three at the same time. Can I just go and... There we go. We need a lot of spores. What's this thing again? Oh, steal a shipment. Forgot about that shit. Hold on. Let's see. I don't even know what else I really want to do here. I guess we just run the bar. We do some of the things that we used to be doing. Work a shift at the bar. Oh. I mean, we did say we are gonna be like managing it, so like might as well actually manage it. Buy some shit. Buy some scrap. Random scrap. Oh, a ship mine fragment. That's cool, actually. I don't know what I want to do, actually. The commune. Can I work the commune? Guess I can just work here, right? Grab some random scraps. only 3 days away, right? Oh, now it's only 3 days away. Oh shit. Peak slate chirps in your pocket. You take it out. A message. The connection is ready. Meet me at the Founder's Gap, Greenway side. Peak. You clench your jaw. It's time. Here it is. You find Peak waiting near where you first met, at the entrance to the docking tunnel at the Founder's Ferry. You are leaning beside the wall in the flickering light, and you realize now how different they look from when you first met. There's a darkness around their eyes, a sense of exhaustion to their pose, but also solidity, a sense of purpose and self-knowledge. They look concrete, for want of a better word. Solid. Sleeper, they spot you and a small smile across their face. Glad you came. I wouldn't be anywhere else, the smile grows. Crunch time. They shake their head in disbelief. Let's go. They break in the connection. The breaking in the connection is up ahead. They walk away from the docking tunnel to a ragged, half-crusted corridor that descends into darkness. They poke their slate and a torch flicks on, lighting the way ahead. As you descend through the layers of the broken edge of the eye, Peak talks, filling the silence. I had to hunt all over this part of the eye to find the point where the connection was broken. They run a hand along the buckled metal of the wall, stooping under the angled ceiling. This hole, the gap, got knocked in the eye when Solheim collapsed. It's impossible to tell who did it. My guess is they tried to scuttle the eye. If Solheim couldn't keep hold of their fancy new station, well, no one could. Peak ducks through a fractured passageway with hanging wires like veins. So this place has always been on borrowed time. They managed to weave together the old connections and run a new patch down to where the main line runs through the remaining ribs of the rim. They smile. Just like keeping those old XPR platforms running. Ash would be proud. She'd bother to help. I'm sure Ash is going to show up at some point. There's no way she doesn't. As Pete goes quiet, the corridor opens out into a wider, twisted passage, with compartments on either side thick with wiring. Here, this is the connection point. You can see where Peak has levered off a panel and hooked up a thick cable to the existing hardware, as thick as a tree trunk. It snakes off into the dark ahead, its yellow rings making it look like some huge exotic serpent. You did all this? Peak nods. It was an interesting challenge. Plus, it helped me keep my mind off things. Peak smiles, weak smile. There's a lot I'd prefer not to think about. You both stand there, staring at the point where the new cable meets the old one. The ends separate, fitting with multi-pin male and female connectors embraced inside a metal framework with a scissoring mechanism. Bring them together, seal them, and the Greenway will be connected to the rest of the eye for the first time in decades. Peak shifts their weight onto one hip, pushing their hair out of their eyes. I feel like this should be more monumentous, like there should be some ritual or ceremony. They pause. Or someone should stop us from doing this crazy thing. It isn't crazy. Peak nods. I mean, I'm not being funny, Sleeper, but this whole thing is crazy to me. Peak shakes their head. Leaving Hawthorne with Ash, joining the flotilla, coming here, meeting you, the flux, the shadow, everything. They laugh a hollow laugh. So I suppose this is at least consistent with all of that. They take a deep breath. Okay. They look at you with mild panic. They hold both sides of the supporting framework, ready to scissor it close. Here we go. Peak wrenches the framework closed, and the connectors thunk together with a sound that echoes down the ruined corridors into the dark of both sides. Both you and Peak wait with bated breath, unsure what it is you are waiting for. Do you expect the eye to suddenly stop spinning? Or lurch on its axis? For the power to go out? Or a shockwave to run through the corridors of the rim? You meet Peak's eyes, and suddenly they're bursting out laughing. What are we waiting for? They put a hand on to their forehead. I feel like we just planted a tree and are expecting it to burst out of the ground. They shake their head. But you feel it. You feel it flowing like a stream that has been released from a cave and rushes out into the sunlight, crystalline and clear. You swear you can hear it running in the wires, like water, like rain, like steam. It doesn't roar or rattle, but it rustles and writhes there, like liquid roots. Peak sees the look in your eyes and stops laughing. You can see it, can't you? You can't see it, not with your eyes at least, but it is everywhere. And now it is out, and it can't be put back in. That much is clear. You imagine the rim of the eye like a sponge, like soil, soaking up the gardener and their chorus, the gaps filling with a burbling, constant growing life. Peak stares at you, waiting for something, anything. Gardener is free. Peak nods slowly and closes their eyes. They go to speak, but the words fail them. Suddenly, Peak's slate chirps. They jump and scramble for it, almost dropping it in the process. But when they stare at it, a look of confusion crosses their face. What happened? Peak's mouth falls open. It's Ash! They swallow. She's leaving. They look at you with panic. Before you can speak, they have turned away and are moving back up the passageway, back towards the entrance. Peak! They don't turn, don't respond, and you watch their silhouette, lit by their slate's torch, disappear rapidly around a corner. You take out the slate Peak gave you and turn on the torch. The wires all around look like pale roots in the harsh light. You turn away from them. They are gardeners now. You work your way back through the corridors, retracing your steps. You imagine Peak, panicked, running through the corridor, realizing that their greatest fear has come to pass. You wonder if they will be able to persuade Ash to stay. If Ash is going, you think, then the flotilla must be leaving too. That thought makes you shiver in darkness, and you push it away. You are not ready. You focus on avoiding the hanging wires, the low ceilings, and make your way back out into the lit corridors of the Founder's ferry dock. Castor is waiting for you. He holds up his hands. Now, sleeper. No need to fear. He raises his eyebrows. I understand now it was my mistake to try to force you. A miscalculation. Why are you here? Good. Questions are good. He pushes his glasses up his nose. I am more than happy to answer any you may have. I won't hold you here, sleeper. Castor stands inside. But I wish to speak. Okay, we'll listen. You stop, giving Castor his opportunity. Castor nods. At first I thought that, if you'll excuse the turn of phrase, taking possession of your particular talents was the opportunity. He smiles a broad smile. But you are more than that, and I understand that now. Your arrival on the station, your ability to touch the networks. This makes you the very definition of a wild card. He touches the rim of his glasses. Senate stats analysis, my analysis. We could never have accounted for you. This system, the Helion system, is about to experience a significant change. About to open up to Senate stats bailiffs, Conway's claimants, and every industry and element an active can channel brings. Yet this very cycle you let another wild card free. Gardener. I have to admit, this development makes me afraid, Sleeper. It makes me afraid what an intelligence like this will sacrifice to protect itself, or what atrocities it might commit through madness. And yet, Castor's eyes glint, what a compelling object such an intelligence is. Let me protect you. Mark you out. Keep Senate stat from eliminating by force or legal expediency you, as they will with every other squatter in this ring. Castor claps their hands together. In exchange, when Senate stat comes for this place, you facilitate the handover. You calm the protocols. You give us the gardener. Mark you out. Keep Senate stat from eliminating you by force. So they won't kill me. They won't kill. He's gonna help them his company not kill me. In exchange, when his company comes to this place, I just give them the protocol. And I go free? Castor takes off their glasses and polishes them. You go free. He meets your eyes. Do you accept? Can you even promise such a thing? Your head swims at the thought of controlling Gardner, but also at the idea of the eye being claimed by Senate stat. Every person deported and rehoused, or worse. I don't know what Gardner's gonna do. I don't know what ability Gardner has. But Senate stat is going to make life, no matter what, worse. I refuse. Castor takes their glasses and polishes them. Disappointing. You begin to leave. As you approach, he speaks quietly, in an urgent whisper. I do not wish to see you lost. You have great value. If you ever want to see that realized, you push past, ignoring him, and his voice fades. The last you see of him is is his slow nod, perhaps a mark of resignation, or just another differential gesture aimed at manipulating your response. Doesn't matter either way. You are done with him. You head towards the cordon, peak, and the flotilla in the forefront of your mind. You arrive into chaos at the cordon. The final shuttles are leaving the ramshackle dock that have formed along the edge of the gap during the flotilla's stay. As they do, groups of evacuees push on board, hoping to be among the final people to escape from the eye. The fear created by the Flux event became a series of rumors, and those rumors have driven many out of their homes. Others have staunchly doubled down on their position on the eye, refusing to accept any gossip of a second collapse. You are unsure what you think. Is the collapse a certainty? Will Peak's actions this cycle have changed anything at all? You are tired of these questions, and instead set out to look for your friends. You quickly spot Peak and Ash at the far side of the chaotic bay. You quickly make your way through the crowd, slipping between the gaps and the rushing evacuees, stepping over bags and luggage. Progress is slow, but as you approach, you can hear their voices over the crowd. You try and push closer, but there are many evacuees gathered around them in their shuttle. You may have made your decision, Peak, and it puts you against me. Ash standing with one foot on the boarding ramp while Peak argues with her. The evacuees are eyeing them, eager to intervene but intimidated by Ash's evident strength and attitude. Ash, it doesn't have to be like this. Peak looks desperate. Tear tracks already on their cheeks. We can find a way. Ash shakes her head. I have always protected you, Peak. I have taken you under my wing. But I understand that you are not mine to control, and you have chosen to be here and not with me, despite everything. I have chosen to stop running, Peak cries out in frustration. You can choose to stop running too. We can stay here and try to live. Don't you remember what it feels like to live, Ash? Ash turns away. I remember what it was like to live on Hawthorne. What it was like to be worried for your safety every cycle. To live under the control of my mother, of the administration. To work to maintain something that no one wanted, no one needed, and so that our corporation could maintain a foothold in this system. You talk as if this place, in the very same system, is any different. What is there here but the same grind for other masters, for employers, administrators, for those who gain from our struggles? There may not be a corporation controlling the eye, but there is control. There is power in action here. So what then? Peak shouts. You've run from anyone and everyone who could ever be close to you in search of freedom? In search of some perfect place where no one has power over you? Peak is crying openly now. I want to be part of something, Ash. Even if it is broken and suffering. Even if I cannot be free. Ash pauses and takes a deep breath. She nods, her eyes closed. This isn't Hawthorne anymore. We aren't tied by our childhood, or our shared need to escape. We are both just people in the system. She opens her eyes. I release you, Peak. You are free of me. Ash, please. They hold out a hand. There is a life here if you want it. Ash turns and smiles at Peak. Her eyes wet now, too. Then you leave it to me, Peak. I can't. Then you leave it for me, Peak. I can't. And she climbs up the boarding ramp, the evacuees taking their chances to climb on board, too. You watch as the shuttle closes its ramp, lifts off, and leaves the bay. The crowds are dispersing now, as they get onto the shuttles and say their goodbyes and move back into the main part of the cordon. You push past the last of them to reach Peak. Peak doesn't turn as you come closer. Sleeper. Ash is gone. She chose to leave. Peak nods. I've known her my whole life. They wipe their face. But since we arrived, we've been going different directions. They turn to face you. I'll miss the Briar, but she'll serve Ash well. I know that. Sleeper. The shout takes you by surprise, and as you turn to see Soul coming across the bay towards you, the last two shuttles loading up behind him. He reaches you, his suit hissing as he does. Can't believe you'd make an old man run across the bay to get you. He pauses to take a breath. The Singers have gone. They left at the start of the cycle. They broke away from the flotilla. You smile as you think of Tala, safely cradled within one of those Singer ships, on her way. I wonder if I kind of instigated that, because I was like, yeah, I understand. You don't want to be part of like this whole fucking thing because you've been fucked over by these other people for so long. But I wonder if I was just like, no, you should really work with them, if that would have changed. And hopefully a reunion with her brother. Godspeed, Tala. What are you smiling at? Soul interrupts your thoughts. They forced our hand. We have to leave now. Soul shakes his head. his head. If we follow close enough behind, maybe they'll end up being our scouts anyway. I reckon any hostile spacers out there will give them a wide berth. Pilgrim Seed will need a little time to make our way out of the cordon, but I'm heading back now to get her started. Thankfully, the step ships are sticking with us, so we'll be plenty well supplied for the journey to the belt. He paused. Anyway, I didn't plod all the way over here to tell you that. Sol looks between you and Peak with a raised eyebrow. It's now or never, Sleeper. I'm good to my word, and I've kept a berth for you, but this is your last chance to take it. He scratches at his beard. Make a call. You glance out at the flotilla beyond the bay, beautiful in the light of the Helian sun. You think of the long journey to the Starward Belt, of the people inside the Pilgrim Seed, of the possible futures that await. Then you think of the people here, on the Eye, of Peak beside you, of the Bantian, of Tala, and the key that still hangs around your neck, of promises and possibilities. And we stay. You open your mouth to speak and realize this is the final time you will make this choice. You'll have to be sure. You'll have to be sure. I'm staying. You say the words, and the moment you do, the weight of it all seems to descend on you. You stumble a little, and then stand straight, refusing to be crushed. You feel a tightness in your chest, and a haze blurring your thoughts. Sol nods. Good luck, he sighs. You'll need it. He grips your shoulder and meets your eye. And the haze, his pitted and rough hand, feels so real, so detailed, that it grounds you. And then it is gone, and Sol goes with it, quickly moving to the waiting shuttle. As he does, you watch, unable to speak, your whole body pulsing. And then another hand falls on your shoulder, and it grounds you once more. You turn to see Peak's bright eyes. Let's go, Sleeper. You nod, and seeing how unsteady you are on your feet, Peak puts an arm around you and steers you toward the entrance of the bay. As they do, you hear the roar, feel the wind as the shuttle lifts off and angles toward the flotilla. You don't turn. Instead, you keep your head down and focus on each step. As you do, you feel Peak beside you, holding a little of your weight, and you holding a little of theirs. This is how it will be for many cycles after you both leave the bay and head back into the Eye. You will both hold things for each other, remind each other of the choices you made, remind each other why it is important to keep going, despite the moments when it seems impossible. You will keep going, you will keep each other going. That support will be vital when the second flux event hit the Eye, when it knocks the entire free spoke off the power grid, making the whole station lurch with a sickening motion, when it cripples systems and corrupts processes, leading sections of the station to go dark, or start venting oxygen, when holding on is all you can do, while the world seems to come apart around you. And yet somehow, the Eye will persist. Systems will resist total collapse in ways that will seem inexplicable to many, but to you and Peak, they will signal the awakening of a new force within the system. The new force will bring with it new challenges and new possibilities in equal measure. Strange growths will be reported all around the station in the wake of the flux event, fungal crusts pushing through the pipes and wiring. The Eye will go wild and fecund, becoming a station of increasing unpredictability, prone to seasonal rhythm of spore clouds and sudden growth spurts. There will be a strange and unsettling beauty of this paradigm shift, as the greening of the station turns it from a corporate ruin to some altogether new assemblage of biological and mechanical structures. Rika will take on this challenge with energy that seems impossible for her age, and her final day will delight in the new mysteries the Eye and its gardener produce. And as this new era consolidates around the station, you will find yourself in the Bataillon most cycles, working to keep the place alive. A cycle where you invite Emphis to come make use of the kitchen will come from a one-off event to a regular occurrence, and soon the Bataillon will be filled with. I'm so glad Emphis will be coming. The Bataillon will be filled with spacers eager to try the best preparations of the station's now abundant mushrooms. See, with all the burgies I got from Emphis at the start of the game, and inviting him into my new bar and being the cook there, like, that's awesome. That's actually I really like to hear that. But on occasion, after a long shift at the Bataillon, you'll hear the sound of the stray mewling, and you'll crumble up some food, sit and watch the cat eat. So it is only. Oh my god, I forgot about the cat, the stray cat. It is the only thing in your world that matters. However, into all this newness, the bad old ways will still intrude. Senate Stat, frustrated by the Eye's resilience, will begin to send more physical threats. supply ships and traders will suddenly stop arriving, stopped by a blockade of corporate militia. Life on the Eye will be punctuated by a wide-channel broadcast from Senate Stat, stating legal precedents and quoting deeds of ownership, staking a claim on the system. Meanwhile, Havenage's hardliners will fizzle out, losing their grip on the Havenage Council. In their wake, Helen will spearhead a series of reforms that will scale back Havenage's overreach, returning them to caretaker role they had always intended to fulfill. As the cycles roll on and the threats gather, new broadcasts will join them, sent by Conway Extractions, making counterclaims on assets within Halion's region, and many on the Eye will grow quiet, losing their appetite for debating these political machinations as they tilt inexorably towards a corporate war. And ever on the Eye will spin, growing now in strange ways, haunted by strange new growths, and hosting cultures of increasing resilience. As the Helion system descends into crisis, you will find comfort in the fungal patterns, the familiar conversations, the spices and the smells that will accumulate around you as your body continues its unavoidable decay. They settle around you, like a veil, and in time it will be impossible to see the Eye without seeing its many variants and versions, past and potential futures, and this masking of the world will mark your approaching end. And one cycle, far from now, that accumulation of memories, of tastes, of people and places and moments will be the last thing you let go of. But for now, there is only you and Peak, arms around each other, walking slowly out of the bay. Two figures born out of crippled systems, linked together, continuing, despite your origins. And in this frozen moment, you focus on only the next step, because that is the only way you have learned to persist. To persist is to believe that a future, any future at all, is possible. Damn. And to me, that's the final end of this game. Because the other ends, it really doesn't go into that much detail. It doesn't go into detail of like what happens to people or like the Bataillon or Emphis or anything like that. Or that felt like the real final ending. You know what I mean? I mean, I know all of the endings that I played before were real, but that one is definitely more of a here is what happens, and that's the one I want to believe is the my ending of the game. In fact, I don't even want to go back and play it to see what would happen if I were to leave with the flotilla. Because that just felt so final to me that I don't want to see other options. And with that, that's the final DLC. As I understand it, there's no other plans for DLC for this game. So I think before the time skip, I'll be playing the second and third DLCs. I kind of gave an overall view of the game, but just to kind of reiterate, I think it's really good. I'm really impressed. It feels hard for let's take this as like a view from what 8 months back. Like looking back 8 months at a game I played, I really did enjoy it a lot. That early section making me feel like I was just scraping by was, even though it was very stressful, it was peak gameplay. I felt it put me in the sleeper's shoes. Um, of course, I kind of was able to build myself out of that, and I became like very, very self-sufficient without having to worry about really anything. Um, Not have to worry about money, energy, condition. Um, I could always eat something. I could always, um, not not in the easiest way, but I could always just like, you know, put together like the things to construct one of those pills that I needed to stabilize myself. But having to buy a stabilizer, spending like 150 credits on that shit, it killed. But it hit what the game was trying to tell me so fucking hard. It did such a good job with that. I am very impressed. And I think I like the themes in this game. I think a lot of sci-fi visual media tries to avoid some, or doesn't actually talk about a lot of these topics, but I think in books and like something like this, it really explores it more. This feels very sci-fi to me. I feel like sometimes sci-fi it just looks at like Star Wars, for instance. Like a lot of it's just fantasy. You know what I mean? It's just fantasy, but like they're just like, oh well, we're just like it's sci-fi because we have ships and whatnot, and we're in space. But like that doesn't make it sci-fi. Like I mean, it does, but like it you could easily dress it up to be something else. Like it just feels dressed up. It just feels like a fantasy story that's cosplaying as sci-fi. Do you know what I mean? Like with the force and powers and whatnot, the stories that they tell. This one felt very like, okay, this is a culture that lives um, in a random space station. Here's their lives. Here is what's going on. Here are like the things that are being, like the kind of like cyberpunk corporation issues, transhumanism issues, like the ideas of um how should I say this? Like just what's it called? Like late stage capitalism, I guess. Um I don't know. I feel like a lot of these things, because to me, I mean, I know sci-fi doesn't have to be like cyberpunk, but to me, a lot of sci-fi should have some cyberpunk elements to it. It shouldn't just be Star Wars. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's just a personal preference of mine. Maybe it's because I like cyberpunk stuff a lot more. But yeah, no, I really did enjoy that. I really enjoyed like some of like the Greenway. I think the Greenway aspect of things was really interesting. I liked the gardener. I liked the meshing of like mechanical and biological. The focus on mushrooms and how like of course mushrooms are going to be the thing that grows. You're not going to be able to like grow fucking tomatoes everywhere in the vacuum of space. The best thing that they've got is like mushrooms and shit like that. That's obviously going to be one of like the staples of diet for them. I don't know. I just feel like they put a lot of thought into like what is a sci-fi world like? What would it be like to be like living out in the space station? Um, but yeah, and I think I mentioned the cons before. I feel like some of the dialogue, like in the early game, in the first part of the game, it just felt everyone talked the same. Now in the second part of it, like this DLC, I feel like they kind of understood that and they had people talk differently. I felt like Esh and Peak were definitely different characters. They talked a little different. Aki talked a little differently than like some of the characters, but kinda. And then Peter definitely talked little different. Soul didn't talk that different, but I don't know. That was good. I don't know, and I think with the DLC, I think it was nice just seeing all these old characters that didn't have proper send-offs in the base game, like Tala, like Rico. It was good to have them come back and see them and talk with them. Oh, who's that other guy, the Havenage guy that helped me out? Him too. But yeah, it was nice having them like kind of like show up for a little bit just so I could just be like, say my final goodbyes to them. I do appreciate that, but yeah, no, I really like this game. I don't know what this studio plans to do next. I think they're done with Citizen Sleeper since they say it's the final DLC episode. Um, but I would be happy to see them do something similar to this in the future. I would actually, even though I really like this world, I feel like it's really well explored. And I wouldn't mind them to do a completely different IP. Maybe something similar with the gameplay mechanics. I wouldn't mind that. Or if they want to do something different, I'd be fine with that. But I've got a lot of confidence with them. So I'm looking forward. I'll keep an eye out for shit they do in the future. But yeah, this was a fun game. It was a long time in the making, and I'm glad I could finally wrap this up. So I guess, well, I'll see you in the next game. This is Cousin Billy. Billy. This is Cousin Billy. I'm out of here.